people that inject toxicity into us or the negative mind into us. First, if we can understand that, first, if we can observe that, then we can find a solution, and then we can move into a positive direction and a positive life we can have. So let's consider all the areas where the toxicity or the negative people can influence us. So we're going to cover all those areas first, and then we will see how we can find a solution for that. The first thing you need to understand, we are what we see and what we hear. So whatever you see and whatever you hear, it's going to impact us, because all the time we are absorbing, we are taking in. So whatever we see, we take in. Whatever we hear, we take in. It gets into us. So first thing, you need to understand that. Now let's cover all the areas where this toxicity can come from. Your family, you can be your mom, dad, sister, cousins. The second one is the neighborhood that you live in, the people that you live around with. The third one is your friends. So the friends can have a negative impact on you. The fourth one is the environment that you go for work, or the environment that you go for to study. And the fifth one is the virtual environment. That means TV, internet, all this comes under a virtual environment, and this can also have a negative impact on us. So let's first talk from virtual environment where the toxicity can come from. So it can come from TV, listening to some person. It can come from reading a newspaper. It can come from a group of chat that you have. But you need to be aware of where this is coming from. See, the virtual world, the internet, the TV is always neutral, which means that it's not positive, it's not negative, it's always neutral. It's just that you need to have a capacity to understand what are the things to be considered and what are the things that you shouldn't be considering. For example, if you're watching a TV, if you're watching Fox or CNN, it can be real, it can be fake. You don't know. So it's up to you if you want to watch news or not, And if you want to watch sports, if you want to watch other things, it can affect you. If it can affect you in a certain way, it can waste your time. So it's up to you how much time you want to spend on TV. It's up to you. The toxicity can come from TV. Now, you can also use internet in a positive manner. For example, if you want to improve your health, if you want to work out, then you can post your videos, and then you can make a similar environment. The people who are posting the videos of workouts, then you can have that positive environment, and then the posting is done because you want to elevate yourself, you want to improve yourself. So I had this bad idea of internet being always bad for you, but it's not the case. You need to understand how to elevate the use of internet in a positive manner. So before, I used to have this negative idea of not using internet at all, but now what I'm doing is I'm posting the videos of my workout, and then I surrounded myself with all the people who work out. And then if I see that, it motivates me to work out even more. It doesn't mean that everyone should do it. I'm just saying that you can use the internet or the virtual world in a positive manner if you want to. It's just you need to be aware and you need to observe, is it improving you, is it demotivating you? If it's demotivating you, you need to cut off. If even if it's TV, if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, anything, if it's demotivating you, if it's bringing you down, you need to cut down. If it's bringing you up, then you need to keep it. It's clear as that. Okay, so the virtual world is pretty clear. You can cut down the virtual world without even thinking. You don't even have to think that. If the toxicity is coming from the virtual world, if you're watching porn and stuff, and it's making you, it's impacting you, it's impacting your studies, you need to cut it down. So with the virtual world, it's easy to cut down. There's nothing to think about. There's no thinking. If it's affecting your studies, if it's affecting something that you want to do in your life, cut it off. There's nothing to think about it. Second one is your work environment. Now, your work environment is pretty important. And if there are toxic people around your work environment, it's pretty hard to move, but you need to make plans to move from that place. Even if it's a school or even if it's any environment which is toxic, you need to find a way to move from that place. Maybe school can be tough. As you are a student, you cannot do much because it involves your parents and it involves other people. You cannot take a decision by yourself. But all you can do is keep yourself engaged with books and keep yourself engaged with the direction you want to achieve in. Cut down the negative people in the school as much as possible, and just it's best to be by yourself or be with the people and listen to the people who can elevate you at school. If it's a workplace, then you are independent. You can move from that place and you don't have to work there, because the more toxic it is, the more bad for you. So if it's toxic, then you need to move out from that place. It's plain and simple. It's hard, but you got to do it. If your work environment is toxic, you need to move out of that place, especially your manager, or if your higher officials are toxic, you need to move out of that place, or you need to turn things around and make your point and your view. But it's just that toxic people won't understand your view. It's just toxicity. And then you don't want that toxicity. You just need to move out. I think that's the best solution. Just move out from there. Go to a place where your environment is positive enough. And I think that's one of the key to find out or figure out where the positive environment is to work. I know it's hard, but you need to find a work environment which is not toxic. And the thing and the struggle with that is you might have to move from one place to other place, move from one place to other place. But you need to find a place where there are less toxic people, And the thing is, the thing I would like to say is, like, if your coworkers are toxic, you can avoid them. But if your manager is toxic, you cannot avoid your manager, your boss. There's no way to avoid him. The only thing you can do is move out of that place. If your coworkers are toxic, you can avoid them. You have your choice to not to talk to them. You have your choice. And then you just go to work, you work and come back. It's hard, but there's no choice for you. The best choice is to move out and find a place where there are people who are positive and the environment is positive. That's the best option. But if you cannot find, if it's hard to find, because everywhere you cannot find everyone is positive. It's hard to find. So sometimes the only thing you have to look after is your boss a toxic person? If your boss is toxic person, you need to move out that place. There's no other way, you know. So the work environment is plain and simple. The toxicity comes from work environment. So you need to have a workplace which is positive and keep it positive as much as possible. The toxicity can come from your workplace. The the next one is your friends. Now, the friends can demotivate you or can be toxic in a direct manner or indirect manner. So for example, if you want to do something in your life, for example, simple thing like if you want to run a marathon and you never been a runner, okay, the toxic person or the demotivator directly says to you, the friend of yours will say to you on your face, you cannot do it. It's a toxic person. I mean, it's a straight no onto your face. And some of your friends can be demotivating you in an indirect manner. They might say something like, they might say something like, "Oh, I've seen a lot of people having a bad knee injury after running a marathon." Now, this is not like a toxic thing, but it's a demotivator. They're demotivating you indirectly, and you're not running the marathon because what you hear, because it can demotivate you. Because when someone says, you won't have a you would have a bad leg injury, and then your mind might deviate to that direction and you might not run a marathon. And the worst friend of all is you demotivating yourself and not moving ahead in your life. So you are your worst friend for yourself. So you need to watch out yourself. Are you really demotivating yourself? Are you really demotivating you? So that so you, so you are your worst enemy as friend. So you need to watch out yourself too. So that's with friends. So you need to cut out all the toxic friends, and it's pretty easy to cut out. There's nothing to think about. You know, if you want friends, it's actually best to have virtual friends than the real friends that you have. The virtual friend that can motivate you, that can say things like, go ahead in life, be positive. You can hear those things, see those things, and move ahead in life rather than listening to the friends that you have who just says, oh, you cannot do it, oh, it's hard to do it, oh, we don't have time. It's better to have virtual friends who can motivate us and who can make us go ahead in life than actually having our friends who don't understand because they are at a certain level. So sometimes some of our friends are certain level, they can think at a certain level, they cannot think ahead of that, So you don't have to cut down those people, you can just ignore them. And the toxic people who demotivate you, need to cut those people out. If they're far away, you don't have to cut them, you just ignore them. If they are very close to you, you need to start to cut them off. If they are demotivators, you need to start. If you want to move ahead in your life, you need to cut these people, the demotivators. You need to cut these toxic people out. There's no questions asked. You need to cut them off to move ahead in your life. So that's with friends. Now let's talk about your neighborhood. Now the neighborhood can really affect you. The people that you live around with can affect you. Then The thing that you can do is, if you have a really bad neighborhood, the people that you surround with are really negative, saying things negatively, then it's just to cut them off as much as possible. You know, the thing that you need to focus is just staying at home. And if you are studying, go to your library, study yourself, and then think about how you can go ahead in your life. Just study, go to library, and meet only the people that meet only the people that who can elevate you, who can make you move ahead in your life. You go. So the neighborhood, even though the neighborhood is bad, you can avoid them. It's not that you have to go and meet them all the time. You can say just hi and then hello and bye, and don't spend much time with them. If they are toxic, you can avoid them. Okay. Now let's talk about family. The family is the hardest part. If they're toxic and if you want to cut them, it's really hard. But doesn't matter if it's family. If they're toxic, you need to cut them off. You need to cut them off. If you are a child, then your hands are a little bit tied down because of the money, but you stand on your own legs, and once you can stand on your own legs, then you need to cut them off, and then you go and live by yourself separately if they are toxic. Because the thing is, you are what you see and what you hear, which means that you're going to become toxic by what you see and what you hear. The environment is going to influence you. All this environment are going to influence you, and it's going to make you a certain kind of person. Because as human beings, we are always intaking things. We're always absorbing the things. You need to understand that. So you cannot have toxic people in your life, even though if it's your family, you cannot have them. You need to cut them off. If you are a child, then there's a less, you cannot do anything as a child, but understand from the other environments, other things that you see, you need to clearly distinguish what's positive and what's negative. Okay, what's elevating you, what's energizing you. So you need to understand that, and then you need to direct yourself towards those things which kind of energizes you, and you need to cut down those things which kind of demotivate you. So I know the family is hardest part to cut off, but if it's toxic, if it's making you down, if it's bringing you down, then you need to cut them off. So if you are an adult and if your family is toxic, there's no questions asked. You do your own thing. Maybe you can talk once in a while, once in a blue moon, but you need to do your own things and cut them off, even though if it's your family. Okay, so you need to understand that toxicity can come from all these different environments. And then you need to understand that as a person, you are elevating yourself, you are energizing yourself, your energy within you are improving every day, because that's what it's all about, energizing ourselves to higher levels. And the toxicity brings us down. So you need to understand what are the things that energizes you. You don't have much time to spend. There's a lot to learn about in life, a lot to do, a lot of things to do in life. So you can focus on those things, and you don't want to spend time with toxic friends or toxic environment, a toxic neighborhood, and toxic family. You need to cut them off. Okay. Now, I have given you all the areas where the toxicity can come from the internet, TV, to your family. Now, you need to know how much time you want to spend with yourself, energizing yourself, And you need to understand how much time actually you're spending with all these toxic people. And then you need to cut them off. You need to cut those time off and then add it to the things that can elevate you, energize you. All right. Hopefully, I'm able to explain this. Thank you and have a blessed day. Namaste.